Hey everyone. All right, so the first cup I'm going to work on tonight is going to be the Mermaid scales. This was my first attempt. There's some minor flaws in it, but I learned some lessons. There's spots where I didn't lay the scales down all the way, and then when I sanded them, the epoxy wasn't as thick, and if you see, kind of went through and took off some of the micas. I didn't have a sharp X-Acto knife, so my rim isn't as smooth as it should be. And I used chunky glitter on the bottom, and I had to do several layers of epoxy to make a flat bottom. So I'm gonna do a couple different things tonight. But all in all, I love how it looks. Don't mind the scratchiness of it, I just sanded it again. If you've used epoxy, you know that once you put epoxy on, those scratches come out. So, starting, what you're gonna need. And tonight we're doing it on a wine glass. You're gonna need a wine glass. You're gonna need Mod Podge. You're gonna need a foam brush. You're gonna need micas. You're going to need a paintbrush. You're gonna need tack it or stick and re-stick. You're gonna need an empty cup and a cup with water. And you're gonna need your scales. You can get any scale SVG off of Etsy, works fine. The scales we're using tonight are a little bigger. They're easier to use. Yeah, so I started by sanding my wine glass. This one is already sanded. I then spray painted it white. This one is already painted white. I do have one that's ready for the next step, so I'm just gonna show you how to start putting the scales on and then we'll move on. So I like to use Mod Podge to put my scales on. So I'm just gonna pull some out, put them right here, and we'll get started. I'm gonna start kind of where the cup goes up. I'm gonna glitter the bottom. I did have enough scales to cover this 10 ounce, but I didn't have enough to fully cover this. I also did the scales a little thicker, but I'm gonna do a chunky glitter up at the top. So you're not even gonna see it. And it also is gonna make it so I get a better line up there too. All right. So you're just gonna start sticking the scales on. This first scale is the most important because you want it to be straight because that's gonna be your guide for the rest of your scales. I found it easier if I put the Mod Podge on the cup and then also put a little Mod Podge on the scale because once that Mod Podge soaks into that cardstock, it helps it's easier to kind of maneuver it around the curves. So, just gonna see where I want this first scale. I like it right there. And just make sure it's straight and all the edges are laying flat. And then you're gonna move on to the next. Just kind of dab your brush onto your scale. I kind of do a little strip for about 2 or 3 scales worth ahead of time. And you're gonna line it right next to that one. The only thing I hate is that I get Mod Podge on my fingers and then the scales like to stick to my hands. Make sure they're touching. You don't want them overlapping. You want them to touch. All right, next scale. I'm not gonna scale this whole cup. Takes forever, but I do have one that's ready to go. Just lining it up to the next one. Pushing down all the edges. I always go back to the ones before, once they've started to soak up that Mod Podge, and push them down too. So you can do this all the way around the cup. I'll do a few more and then I'll start going up. Normally I would do it all the way around before I start going up, but I just want to show you a couple rows up. Oh, I keep dropping, this paintbrush does not want to stay. There we go. So see, just got the scales going around the bottom. And honestly, I mean, mermaid tails aren't perfect. So once they're all on, you're not gonna notice if one of them is off. Trust me. All right, so like I said, it'll go all the way around. But I'm just gonna start going up so y'all can see. Oh, I got Mod Podge on my face. Okay, so when you start to go up, let's just pretend I've gone all the way around here. This light is making it hard. Oh, there, if I get close. Okay, don't worry. If it's hard to see when I'm back here, I will move it forward so y'all can see each step. All right, so I'm just gonna start going up with the glue. Let me try to turn this down, actually. Oh, that's better. Way better. Okay. So when you start to do the next layer, just gonna put a little Mod Podge in between where you've created kind of like a scale shape. Okay. And then put a little Mod Podge on our scale. And we're just going to lay it. You do want these to overlap just a little bit. And you can look at it and make sure there's no open spots. You just move it till you overlap it just enough, just like that. So you have no lines between the scales that it's touching. So I do complain about the Mod Podge on my hands, but it is nice helping you pick up these teeny tiny scales. And once I have like my strip that I painted, I just kind of lay my brush down, you see, grab it with my finger and just kind of dab it onto the brush to get Mod Podge on the back. When you take your finger off, just kind of roll it off. It'll come off. I mean, you're gonna pull the scales off. You just have to put it back on, get irritated, and move on. Go back and push all these sides down. There we go. Just gonna go up again so y'all can kind of see a few layers. So you're just gonna do that all the way around the cup. And like I said, if you don't wanna have to worry about having to trim the top, then I would stop probably like, I wouldn't let your scale go over the top. So I would stop here or even here and just use chunky glitter to fill the spots in. All right, so once you get it all the way around and it dries, we're gonna move on. You are then going to spray paint it, whichever color. I did black on this, and I feel like that's why these colors got kind of dark, because I mean, these are the colors I used. So I could be wrong, but we're gonna find out. So I spray painted this one white. And now we're going to do the micas, and let's see. So what I do is I take a cup of water, and I'm gonna cut it half and half. I have nothing in here yet. With this stick and re-stick glue, or tack it. You don't need a whole bunch, so I definitely have way too much water. I'm gonna pour some of it out. Oh, they're pretty even. No. A little bit more. There we go. All right, so pour the water into the glue. Get your popsicle stick. And mix it all up. I use the same foam brush I use for the Mod Podge. I'll just glue is glue. Just kind of squeeze it out with the paper towel. All right. I mean, honestly, you wouldn't be going to this next step right away, so while you let that dry, you could wash the brush out and then let it dry. All right, so there's our glue. So, I'm going to turn this up a little bit. All right. So I found a good use for all these ridiculous amounts of flyers we get in the mail. I use them now for glitter and for micas. All right, so just going to take a little bit of each color and put it out on here. Oh, or a lot. Okay. And then our blue. All right. Wrong lid. Make sure you put your lids back on because, I do, because I'm notorious for apparently randomly flailing and knocking everything over. So that's not good. All right, here we go. So we're gonna take our cup, and for the first part, you can hold it on the cup. Eventually you're gonna hold the stick, but take our little mixture we have right here and paint it onto the cup, all over the cup, covering the entire thing. I guess I'm gonna hold the stick now. I'm gonna use mica powders on the bottom, even though I'm gonna glitter it, just so I make sure that I don't have white peeking through. I don't know that many mermaids with white tails, so. All right, oh, dropped on my pants. All right, so once you get the cup nice and covered, I'm gonna scrape off the excess because we are going to, I'm a mess. We're going to be heat gunning this because this is stick and re-stick. So once it dries, it's still sticky. And you don't want it wet, you just want it sticky. So then we're gonna take our heat gun. I forgot to mention you need a heat gun or a blow dryer, or you just wait for it to dry. But I don't have patience like that. All right. So, grab my heat gun. And, unplug something. All right. Now, I've put this mica powder out already, so we're gonna make sure we don't heat gun near that. You're gonna take your heat gun, we're just gonna dry this cup. And you can see as it dries that it's not glossy anymore and it becomes more satin. So you kind of know when it's done. almost dry. All right, so that is done. It's still sticky. What if I put it up closer? That's a little better. Okay, here we go. I hope that's better. All right, so here's the fun part. So we're gonna take our first color. I'm gonna use this blue. And you're just gonna start brushing it onto the cup. And eventually on the scales, yes, but I'm doing it on the cup right now. Because like I said, I'm going to. So I want the bottom to be kind of mermaid. I'm gonna do kind of reverse of what I'm doing there. So this first row of scales is gonna be blue. So I'm gonna do this exposed part of the cup with the blue. But as I go towards the underneath and towards the middle, I'm going to grab the other colors too. All right, so there's the first layer of the cup part. So now we can grab the green, kind of fade that in. This part doesn't have to be perfect because it's gonna be covered with the glitter. The glitter I use though kind of picks up on the colors. I'm gonna be using Jackson Square by Mr. Nola glitter under here. So I want to make sure I cover this because it's gonna actually play around with the colors and the glitter too. Okay, and now the purple, let's go in the middle here. All right, so now we're gonna go back to our blue and do our first kind of section, not row scales. I mean, you can make it a bigger section because it's gonna go, I would say, a third of it. I do like these colors better on the white. It definitely was using the black spray paint. So if you look right here, you want to make sure that you get into all these grooves with the micas. And trying to make your line as close to even as possible all the way around. I know it's, like I said, it's a mermaid. It doesn't have to be perfect. No one is going to see all sides of the cup at once. And just go back and make sure you get in those grooves really well. And blow it off. So there's the first layer, or the first section. So now I'm just gonna take I use the same brush because we want all the colors to blend anyways. And then I'm gonna do our green in here. Make sure you're getting, oh, I just realized that I'm doing it off camera, sorry. Make sure you're getting into all those grooves. I just blow it off every once in a while because you don't want a ton of it to drip down there because it is, you know, you don't want it to, the green to fully cover that below, but if it goes down a little bit, it's fine. I do see that there's spots I'm gonna have to go back and touch up afterwards. That's fine. Once we get it all covered, we can have a better idea. And I'll go back and do a better blending line too. All right. So obviously there's spots where we need more. And it could also be that I didn't get enough of the stick and re-stick in there. So in that case, we can go back with a brush and add some. I'm not gonna use the foam brush, I'm just gonna use a fine brush so I can get into all these spots. Just gonna put some in there. I'll come back to that after. I'll let that kind of air dry. If it's still not dry when I get ready for it, I will hit it with a heat gun to dry it. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the purple. Actually, I think I should go a little bit higher with this green. So I would make sure, I suggest that you really try to make sure you saturate with your stick and re-stick or tack it, whatever you use. So you don't have to go back and fix little spots like that. I probably should have saturated a little bit more. Okay. And now we're gonna go in with our purple. Putting it all over up here. We're gonna do it up at the top. All right. So now, of course, we're gonna go back and find these spots that we didn't get good saturation with the glue on and blend them in. Those aren't really dry yet. some more spots that need some more glue. This is why it's extra important to make sure you really saturate. Because even though you do want like some of the white on the cardstock to be seen for depth, you don't want like big chunks of it. All right. Now I'm gonna grab my heat gun again. All right, and back. So now I'm just gonna go back with my brush and blend in these spots that we added some more tacket to. I am having difficulties. This cup is not making me happy tonight. I'm not liking where the glue is. It's getting darker. I think I should have saturated it more. But like I said, this is only my third time doing the mermaid one. So we're just gonna keep pushing through. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go with, you can't see, but I'm gonna grab, here. I'm gonna grab green and purple and use that as my blender, where the two colors come together, right on that line. So I don't have, so it's more of a blended transition than going straight from one color to the next. And I'm just gonna hope that these spots dry nice. But you know what, if they don't, then we just start over, and that's life. Not ideal, but it's life. See how I like darker spots? I don't know. And try to pull some of this purple and green down into the green. See how it's blending more into it now? I'm gonna do the same with the blue and the green and pull it up. All right, so here's what we got so far. There's some spots in here I don't really like at all. Yeah, there's a lot of spots in here I don't like. I'm gonna try to see if let's try to dry them. Let's try that first. Okay, so before I ever redo a cup, because I know I messed some stuff up on here, I like to try to fix it. So if I'm gonna strip it anyways, why not try to do something to fix it? So I'm going to actually tacky this one, because it looks like there's spots that are wetter, and that's why I'm getting those weird color, like distorted colors. So I'm just gonna re-tacky the whole thing and then just mica it again. I mean, what's the worst case? I have to strip it? Well, it's already gonna do that. I hope that's something y'all appreciate on my channel is I mean, I mess up. We all mess up, but I'm not gonna stop my video and edit it so it looks like I'm perfect, because I'm not. And messing up and learning is all a part of making cups. So, I'm also gonna brush it up this way, so I assure that I'm getting it under those scales. I just thought of that, should have done that before. And it helps get it a better even coating. Who knows, we might get some crazy cool colors. So when I do cups like these, where they're done by hand and they can sometimes be different, I always tell the customer, hey, these are painted by hand, just so you know. They will all be the same colors, but they will all have some sort of variation to them. So that way I know that if this one is a different color, but it's still green, purple, and blue, then they will not be mad. All right, I'm liking this now. I think we're gonna be good now. I'm gonna let this dry for a minute and get some new colors out on here. So yeah, I suggest you go against the scales to get to the glue. Ugh, this green likes to fly out. Get the glue under the scales. All right, heat gun. All right, here we go. Round 2. I'm actually gonna brush it the opposite way I did before. So I know I'm getting it under those scales and getting rid of those spots. Ugh, I'm off camera again. I'm so sorry. Okay, now we're cooking. Yes, it's covering up these weird color splotches that we had before, which is nice. Okay, back in business. See, I sometimes know what I'm doing. Ah, picked up the wrong color. Just as I said, I sometimes know what I'm doing. Okay, yes, it's getting rid of those. It's evening up those color weirdnesses. That's the word we're gonna go with, weirdnesses. And it's blending nice. Love it. I'm gonna take our purple up here. usually have music going or watching TV, but so I can be with all of you, I'm working in silence, so if I hum, I'm sorry. All right, now to mix the colors to blend the lines. Soften those transitions. Get a good blend all the way through the cup. All right, how are we looking? I like it. I'm gonna add a little more green on this side though. The purple went down a little much. All right, so there we go. There's our scales. So our next step is going to be washing our hands before I have fingerprints all over it. Maybe just put on gloves. All right. I'm doing more of these, so I'm gonna take these micas and put them over here so I can use them later. All right. Epoxy. I am going to use for the first time. What? You can pop. Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi.
Does Adeline's parents know we're coming over?
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, you two.
All right, so I'm going to, for the first time, use Fast Set Ultra Clear from Counterculture. Very excited. I'm going to take off my sweater because I love this sweater. All right, and get some gloves. Oh no. I just dropped my Cricut mat of scales behind the craft table. Well, I'm just gonna call it a loss because I'm not moving this whole table to find it. All right, so I'm gonna come over here, take off this one. It's another one I'll be working on tonight. And let's mix our epoxy. Oh, forgot a stirring stick. Hold on. Okay. First time using Fast Set Ultra Clear Epoxy by Counterculture. I loved their other Fast Set. This one is just Ultra Clear. If we can get it open. Screwdriver always comes in handy. Oh, y'all couldn't see, but that was like a struggle to do. Oh, of course, that one was easy. Now I look like I was struggling for no reason. The other one had like a foam thing on it, not just this foil. Okay, here we go. Like any epoxy, equal parts. I like to go to that line. I started, I bought, what are these called? Cleaning up my bottles so it doesn't get gross like the other one did. I bought silicone molds, so whenever I have leftover epoxy, I have something to do with them. So wasting it. Oh, whoa. All right, don't look at the camera while you pour epoxy. Nope, a little too much. Perfect. Equal parts A and B. Now to mix. I know this is off camera, but I can't really have everything on camera, and I don't want to move the camera once I have epoxy on my hands, so, but I'm just mixing the A and B. Once I start stirring, I'll show you all. All right. So now I'm stirring. Now I've not put the cup on the turner yet because I am going to glitter the bottom with it on the stick and then put it on. I usually just like throw it on there, but that just is messy. So I guess I'll show you. Oh, okay. Show you what I'm gonna do. Once I'm done mixing, I'm so excited to use this super clear. I never really had problems with the other one, but hey, if they say it's better, why not try? I really don't have any amount of time that I mix for, but I just kind of make sure I mix around in a circle. Also, I pull from the bottom up. And mix. Okay, I feel like it's mixed enough. All right, so I will be using Jackson Square for Mr. Nola glitter on the bottom, and then Decatur on the sides and the top. So to do the bottom, I'm just gonna use my hand. So I'm gonna get a little epoxy on my finger, rub it down here on the bottom. I would like the chunky, it's just hard on the bottom, so this flat surface is gonna have this finer glitter. There we go. Oh! There we go, there's our bottom. So now, I'm just going to kind of gently take it off of here. I'm gonna use this one right here. And, because I have epoxy on one finger, carefully try to get it on to the turner. Trying not to touch the glittered bottom. Oh, there we go. It's on. Sorry for the struggle sounds. Okay. So I'm just gonna start it. Oh, it's not plugged in. Hold on. I had to unplug it for the heat gun. Oh, wait. No, that can't happen. All right, we're gonna have to unplug one of these lights. That light has to come off.